And a roundup of news in brief. A boy identified as Deepak was attacked in Bihar over social media post that he had put out in support of Nupur Sharma. Deepak had posted on Facebook in support of Nupur Sharma 7 days back, and in fact he made and the accused had replied to this particular post that was put out by Deepak. Later, the accused called 20 to 30 people to thrash Deepak. However, the police reached the spot on time and saved Deepak from the mob. A cloudburst that was reported in Chog area of Manikaran Valley of Kulu, causing heavy damage to many homes and camping sites across the area along the Choj Nala, which is connected to the Parvati River. As per the information received, it was raining in Kulu since last night. The incident happened in the Chog drain in the morning. The houses adjoining the drain were also damaged. Congress is all set to find a joint candidate of opposition parties for the vice president election. As per sources, Congress has reportedly given the task to Mallikarjun Kharge, a leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, to reach out to the opposition parties to select a candidate for the election of the vice president post. NIA's FIR in Udaipur case mentions that assailants circulated the video of murder of Tailor Kanhaiya Lal on social media. The NIA in a statement said that the video was surfaced with assertion promoting enmity on religious grounds and creating panic and terror amongst the masses of the country. The Kerala Assembly on Wednesday witnessed intense protest by the Congress-led UDF opposition over Minister Saji Cherian's remarks against the Constitution, following which Speaker MB Rajesh declared the House adjourned for the day. Now, as soon as the House proceedings began, the opposition moved to the well of the House and raised slogans as well, demanding the resignation of the minister over his anti-constitution remarks. And more breaking news coming in. The protest that is currently being staged by the BJP, the protests which are currently taking place in Kolkata, we are told. Remember some remarks that were also made by TMC's Mahua Moitra, which has, of course, triggered massive reaction there from the BJP. You can see the protest which is currently being staged by the BJP workers there. This protest which is currently taking place in Kolkata as we speak. We'll go across to our Kolkata reporters as well to get us more information. But as you can see, massive backlash that Mahua Moitra is facing over the remarks that she had made, and you can see the BJP workers there upping the ante against Mahua Moitra there, raising banners and flags against Mahua Moitra and staging a stir there against Mahua Moitra. This is the smoking Kali row which has erupted, of course. We have Niranjan with us, our executive editor. Niranjan, if you could give us more details of the protest being staged by the BJP in Kolkata.
Well, in the last few hours and since yesterday, the BJP has been asking for action against this Trinamool parliamentarian called Mahua Moitra for her comments against Goddess Kali, especially on the Kali poster. Now, there were some reported comments of Mahua Moitra that the BJP claims, that she has insulted them and that even the TMC had reportedly distanced itself from these comments made by Mahua Moitra, saying that they do not endorse the comments made by her. Meanwhile, Bollywood is also tweeting. There's a tweet that has been put out by Swara Bhaskar. Bollywood wading into the controversy. Let's put out that tweet as well. Swara Bhaskar says, Mahua Moitra is awesome. More power to her voice. And the reported comment of this parliamentarian called Mahua Moitra is that she reportedly said and backed the poster and said that to her, Goddess Kali was a meat-loving goddess. That was reportedly something that she said, and to which the Trinamool Congress has distanced itself. And the tweet now coming in of Bollywood, Swara Bhaskar, and I think these are some of the same people who also went after Nupur Sharma, saying that she shouldn't have made those comments and she should not have. Those comments were condemned and action was taken. But for them to use such double standards and also back comments that have hurt the sentiments of many others is something that raises questions and is completely hypocritical. Now, the breaking news update now is that Bollywood has jumped to her defense. People like Swara Bhaskar is saying that Mahua Moitra was right and that she's awesome, more power to her. So essentially they're backing her comments. And this also comes on the back of the action that has been taken. I think Twitter has also pulled down the poster or the trailer which is the starting point of this controversy of Kali, the documentary of Meena Manimekalai. Now, as we know it, the Trinamool Congress, as of this afternoon, distancing itself from the comments. The BJP is protesting. There are different protests being reported from different parts of Bengal, and they're asking and they're daring the Trinamool Congress to take action against Mahua Moitra. There's no action, and these protests continue in West Bengal as we speak, in different parts of Kolkata as well. We are hearing that there are some complaints that have been filed as well. Not sure whether any of these complaints have been converted into an FIR, but the story is certainly developing. And as far as the poster controversy is concerned, Twitter has been forced to take some action. Twitter has been forced to take down that controversial documentary trailer that was the starting point of the Kali controversy. They've been forced to take it down, and a lot of complaints have been made. FIRs registered also against the filmmaker, the director in this particular case of the Kali docu-film. So, story taking a political turn with the Trinamool Congress parliamentarian sort of endorsing, saying that to her, goddess Kali is a meat-loving, god, and to which many people have said their sentiments are hurt and have escalated the matter through protests and complaints. That's where the issue stands. And I think you're getting in short pictures of the protest as well. We'll play out those pictures and get you more reactions. For now, Samiksha, back to you.
Talk to us more about this tweet that has been put out, because there are people like Swara Bhaskar who, in the name of being liberals, they make such statements which are indeed quite provocative, and they deserve outright condemnation.
Well, if anything, I think this entire controversy has exposed the doublespeak of whom we call the Lutyens lobby. Now, these are the same people, ironically, who also backed people like Zubair of Alt News, the co-founder, who's in custody. And some of his posts, you look at some of the posts that he's put out, and he was forced to delete his Facebook account as well, because there were many controversial posts, some of which were flagged off to Facebook, and he could not delete them in time because he was in custody perhaps. So the easy route taken was to deactivate his Facebook account. Now, in the last few days, they have backed him outright, while also backing his freedom of speech. They called it freedom of speech, also backing his posts. Some of these posts have insulted Lord Ram. Some of these posts have mocked the shivling. I think there are protests in Kolkata. There are some protest pictures are coming in on ANI service. Let me cut across live.
We have demanded legal action. Initially, we do not belong to those group who blocks national highway, who don't allow patients to go, who don't allow flights to catch, people life absolutely detached from city, from civilization. We don't do that. We are hurt. Our Ma Kali is our not only goddess, our weakness. You can say our religion, we really believe in Ma Kali. Whenever we are in distress, whenever we have some problem, we only close our eyes and believe in Ma Kali. That Ma Kali is being not only unspoken words, but the way she said, her adamancy, and Mahua Moitra, her arrogancy, her what you call her this thing, being MP, and she is overspoken, the way she has derogated our goddess Ma Kali, we really feel pity for her. She belongs to a Hindu community. She is a Hindu woman. And how can she come down so much for appeasement politics? For it is not her belief. She can't say it for me, Ma Kali is a meat eater and this thing, whiskey given. No, Ma Kali has many versions. Our Dakshina Kali, she is with saris, she is prayed with flowers. We go to, we pray Dakshina Kali at our residence home also. We have Matara, we have Shoshan Kali, we have so many Kalis. But that doesn't mean she will say, oh, this God is with only this. She has other side also. In our belief, she saves the entire world. In our religion, we consider Ma Kali is the source of all strength, power and everything in the universe. How can she utter this type of words? She should not only be punished, not only be arrested, she should be condemned by each and every Hindu of the community.
TNC is tweeting and that they can accuse that comment is their personal party is not being.
No. TMC speaks something in front and they do the reverse in behind. That we have seen several times in the past. We have seen during 9th June, 10th June, during this period, the entire Bengal. I was on Howrah, this Domjur highway, and from 10 a.m. in the morning to 10:30 in the evening, we couldn't move. And that was simply police was not doing anything, helpless, until and unless TMC Supremo will comment and will pass some order, then only people will be allowed to reach the hospital for ambulance through. All that was stuck off. And we have seen in Beldanga, we have seen in Betuadauri, we have seen in Malda, Murshidabad, everywhere. Wherever the community, the specific community is a little bit more in population, there only we have seen the entire road was blocked. And they were so adamant. They had all these things, sword and everything in their hand. So that was allowed only by TMC government. When police and administration is functioning properly, no people, no community cannot function this way. That we have seen only in the last month. So they say it is not our fault because of Hindu votes. They are having panchayat elections ahead. Hindus are getting burned inside, from inside. The way she said all about, they want to, whenever they find Deptanu, they did all that.
Your demand is Jessica arrested and...
Not only arrest, she should be expelled from the party. She should be expelled. Then only we will understand, yes, TMC. So what? She must be, MP can't do anything against human belief.
What do you want to resign on to the
MP, she should. She is MP, but MP is not supposed to say anything against human belief, communities' belief, Hinduism, what Hinduism thinks, what we learned from childhood. And this thing
continues to be with us. So we understand that an FIR that has also been registered against Moitra. Niranjan, if you could give us more details.
No, I'd like to, get a double confirmation on that. I'd like to go back to because we know it's a complaint that was filed by BJP Media Cell convener Jiten Chatterjee. There are reports that an FIR has been lodged now against Mahua Moitra in Durgapur. I'll get a double confirmation on that. But what I'd like to do right now is cut back to ANI because the protests continue. I think some of them are speaking. Let's cut across live, please. Let's go across to the live protest. Okay, I think the feed is gone. So we'll wait for the feed and we'll cut back to the live protest once again from Kolkata. But those are some of the pictures that are coming in. In fact, we're getting in some more breaking news updates right now from different parts of the country. In Assam as well. In Assam, there is an FIR that has been lodged. Getting in the breaking news now from Aniruddha. So we'll try and get Aniruddha live as well. This is on the smoking Kali poster controversy. An Assam group has filed a complaint, and I think now an FIR has been lodged. And we are hearing that this Assam group has filed a complaint against Leena Manimekalai, and Kutum Suraksha Parishad is the name of the group. And they filed a complaint against Leena Manimekalai. The FIR was filed last evening is what we are being told. So we have some details of that and the complaint copy that was written as well. So across the country you're seeing also parallelly this episode of the Kali controversy, erupt. and explode with more and more people coming out in the streets and marking their anger. Certainly not resorting to vandalism, but silently marking their protest, filing a complaint, and as we speak, we're getting an update from Assam now that a group has filed a complaint, and that complaint has been converted into an FIR. That's a complaint that has been filed now. In fact, let me also tell you that I'm getting in a confirmation right now that in Bengal there has been an FIR lodged. Okay, so we have a complaint copy. We have a copy of the FIR as well. We have the complaint that has been lodged. Received but content not verified. So it's a complaint. It's a complaint. It's not an FIR.
Okay.
Again. So I'll wait for that. It's a complaint. So in several parts of the country there are complaints filed and not really an FIR. So we'll wait for some details to come in from Assam to Bengal. Complaints being filed, protests being seen, and the story so far is that on the Kali controversy, while even Twitter has been forced to take that controversial trailer down, Bollywood has jumped in to sort of back this Trinamool Congress MP whose own party has condemned her comments, saying that it does not reflect the views of the Trinamool Congress for linking Ma Kali to alcohol and meat, etc. Controversial comments. There's a lot of anger on the streets of Bengal where people are protesting. So that's the story so far. I'm handing it back to you. I think you heard some of those protests as well.
Yes, please stay with us. If you could take us through some of the political reactions as well coming in. We understand that the TMC at this point has distanced itself from the comments that were made by Moitra.
That's correct. Yesterday, I think, these comments were made in some event somewhere. And the Trinamool Congress put out a statement saying that they don't agree, they don't endorse this comment, and it's not their standpoint, and they completely sort of want to distance themselves from this controversy and the comment that was made. So that's what happened. And I think within the Trinamool Congress as well, they realize that this is not an issue that they should be fighting for. And I think there is also a complaint copy that was filed in Bengal. That complaint copy is on the screen right now. This is one of the complaint copies, I think, which were filed by the BJP. I think a media cell convener of the BJP has filed this complaint. So, in Assam, in Bengal, some of these complaints being filed against some of the comments and the entire Kali poster controversy. It's a little blurred. It's a little blurred. So we'll go back to the pictures. And we'll get you the details and the protests on the streets of Kolkata. So that's an update that came in. A complaint copy that was filed, and it hasn't been converted into an FIR yet. So we're tracking the story closely, Samiksha. Let me hand it back to you. We have some more breaking news update coming in, and we'll keep coming back to the story as and when we get reactions.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Niranjan. So that is the latest. We are learning a complaint that has been filed against Mahua Moitra. And this is, in fact, another update that we have received is that an FIR that has also been registered against the director of this documentary movie. So remember, a lot of protests that have also broken out. And as we speak, the mega BJP protests, which are currently underway in Kolkata. So Mahua Moitra there, the TMC MP, facing massive backlash by the BJP workers in Kolkata. So that is the latest coming in, the complaint that has been filed against Mahua Moitra. Remember, another FIR has also been lodged against the director of this particular movie, and all of this is with respect to the Kali poster row, which has only escalated. Slipping into a very short break. On the other side, we'll get you the latest on Assam flood situation.
Getting a cab these days is nearly impossible because half the time you don't get rides. Even if your cab gets booked, you're not sure when it is going to get cancelled or how much you're going to pay. Now, answering all this, Mind has come up with beautiful solutions whereby we don't have a surge rate here because they go by government prescribed rates. Not just that, Mind has a beautiful feature where you incentivize the driver, ensuring that he will come and pick you up on time. So thanks Mind.
Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky has called for more pressure on Russia, warning that Russia can create another crisis for Europe. Volodymyr Zelensky also said that until Russia is defeated, there is no guarantee that it will not wage war against any other country. The United Nations World Food Programme has appealed for $68.4 million to alleviate food insecurity in the Central African Republic. The rapid rise in the price of essential goods in the CAR linked to the war in Ukraine could exacerbate an already difficult humanitarian situation. Over 2 million people in the CAR are currently suffering from acute food insecurity. The Supreme Court will be hearing a petition filed by former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister and AIADMK leader Edappadi Palanisamy challenging the Madras High Court order restraining the AIADMK's General Council for amending the party's bylaws during its meeting. Chhattisgarh police have arrested 3 Maoists who were involved in the Jivalpadar IED blast. P. Sharma, the additional SP Naxal operations, has said that the arrests are of members of the Kachapal militia and were involved in the Jivalpadar blast that happened on the 29th of March. They've also recovered an IED and 12 detonators.
A quick roundup of news in brief. 2 Indian youth from More Ward number 2 and 4 were reportedly shot dead in Tamu in Myanmar. Reportedly, they were shot dead by...
The headlines at 1:30 in the afternoon. Amravati hate-killing probe widens. Alleged PFI man Sohail Nadvi quizzed by the NIA. Chilling details revealed in Umesh Kolhe's post-mortem report, which suggests Kolhe was stabbed to death. More detentions made in Amravati hate-killing case over alleged threat calls to Umesh Kolhe. Smoking Kali Rao gets bigger. Mega protests erupt against Mahua Moitra as she backs the poster. Trouble mounts for Mahua Moitra. Multiple complaints filed over controversial comments on Kali. Pothole death reported in Thane. Massive anger erupts as civic apathy claims another life. Breaking news coming in now. In the Amravati killing, sources have informed that raids were carried out at Nadvi Sohail, an alleged PFI member in Amravati. He is connected to the killing in Amravati. PFI member NI will take all of the accused back to Mumbai. That's another important detail at this hour. Another accused that the NI will be taking into their custody soon. So, here are the latest updates in the Amravati killing. Our correspondent Priyanka, who's been covering the story ever since it first broke. Priyanka, more details emerging. What are the important points to be taken note of as far as the case as it stands now is concerned?
Well, that's right, Nupur. There are several parts of the investigation that are being carried out, but NIA team, in fact, the latest that we're learning is that they have taken the 7 accused to Mumbai. They've just left from Amravati. And in fact, we have also been tracking what really the investigation has been all about. But so far, the pieces of evidences that the NIA has also taken over from the local police are about the WhatsApp groups, the bank statements and other financial pieces of evidences as well, because they are tracking as to how this entire nexus had been operating here on the ground, including the key accused Irfan Sheikh of the Rebar helpline, who had in fact been recruiting these 6 accused who had been on the ground carrying out the actual murder of Umesh Kolhe. They were the ones in fact who were carrying out a recce on Umesh Kolhe, looking at his daily activities to understand when he would be alone so that he can be attacked. Apart from that, the NIA is also looking at other accused who might be involved in this entire matter. They are in fact, as we speak, interrogating one more member of the PFI, that is Suhail Nadvi, from Amravati itself, and he has in fact been taken to the police station. He is being questioned as of now. Following the entire procedure, NIA, if they have reason to believe that this particular PFI member also has something to do with the entire killing of Umesh Kolhe, he will also be taken into custody and he will be presented before the court for a remand, for which then they will be taking him again to Mumbai as well. So all of that procedure.
And Priyanka, we're going back to the post-mortem report right now. Stay with us. We're going back to the post-mortem report right now that you had given us, that we had accessed here in Republic, which tells about the vicious attack on Umesh Kolhe. Here's more details regarding that. Well, as we were telling you, Republic has accessed the post-mortem report, which gives details of the multiple stab wounds on Umesh Kolhe. It clearly indicates how he was murdered, and all the details are there. In fact, his spine too was affected by that vicious attack, in which not 1 or 2 but nearly 6 people had assaulted him. And now the wider conspiracy emerges, even as the chilling details of his killing are out in that post-mortem report that Republic TV has accessed. Let's listen in from Priyanka to more details about this case.
Amravati, where the PFI member Suhail Nadvi has stayed. His house is here, and right here from where he had in fact also been detained is what we were learning, and the NIA has been in fact asking him questions, trying to understand what his real role in fact had been in the entire conspiracy of Umesh Kolhe. But this is the ground where in fact we are seeing that Umesh Kolhe, the conspiracy of murdering Umesh Kolhe in fact had also taken place, and now we're seeing from across Amravati more and more accused are coming to life, and one is the new PFI angle that has also come to life, because Suhail Nadvi, you can see the other shop name also, Suhail Nadvi, that in fact had been the member of the PFI and also had been involved, is what the authorities have reason to believe, in the entire murder of Umesh Kolhe. As of now, he is in fact being taken into custody of the NIA. Raids were conducted at his house late last night, and of course today more and more names have come to light of who really had been involved in this entire conspiracy of brutally murdering Umesh Kolhe. With video journalist Vipin Mori, I am Priyanka Sharma for Republic.
Well, Priyanka there giving us details, standing outside the premises connected to another accused, another alleged participant in this entire conspiracy in the Amravati killing, which claimed the life of a chemist, Umesh Kolhe, and many were the assailants who attacked him on that evening, and they stabbed him. The Republic has accessed the post-mortem report, which gives details of the vicious stabbing in which his spine was affected, various nerves were sliced, and it was a cruel butchering of a helpless man. And sources have informed that raids were carried out at premises connected to Nadvi Sohail, a PFI member in the Amravati killing case. More details emerging as our correspondent Priyanka is on at the scene. More breaking news now on Live and Breaking on Republic TV. These are stills of photographs of Nitish Kumar, Chief Minister of Bihar, meeting Lalu Prasad Yadav, who is hospitalized. Nitish Kumar there meeting Lalu Prasad Yadav earlier in the day. We had been giving you details about how Lalu Yadav was hospitalized. He has been ailing for some time now, and his son had in fact made it public and appealed to people for their prayers, however, not to disturb other patients and not to visit the hospital. These are stills of Chief Minister Nitish Kumar meeting Lalu Prasad Yadav in hospital where he is hospitalized. So breaking news now, and earlier in the day, we had informed you about how Lalu Yadav was hospitalized after he had been ailing for some time, in fact. And his son had made an appeal to people, as we had shown you, for their prayers and their support at this time. And in other news, an improvised explosive device was found near Srinagar Baramulla National Highway. Reportedly, the IED was planted by the terrorists. In a joint operation between forces, the IED was successfully defused. Here's more.
Amidst broad daylight in the streets of Jammu and Kashmir, the security forces recovered an improvised explosive device. The device was reportedly planted by terrorists. But the forces were quick to thwart the bid. And in a joint operation with the Baramulla police, the bomb disposal squad and Indian Army forces rushed to the spot and promptly defused the IED, resulting in no chaos and casualties. The timely action has marked yet another big win for our forces as they give yet another fitting reply to those waiting to cause harm to the nation. Bureau Report, Republic TV.
And now for latest updates on the Kali poster controversy. Mahua Moitra tweets on the smoking Kali Rao, says, Jai Ma Kali, the goddess Bengalis worship, is fearless and non-appeasing. This comes as massive protests have now erupted against the TMC leader, whose comments have not gone down too well with the public in West Bengal, where the goddess is revered across the length and breadth of the state. So in latest news over the Kali poster Rao, Mahua Moitra facing the ire, and as you can see, this is the tweet of Mahua Moitra that I was telling you about a short while back. The goddess Bengalis worship is fearless and non-appeasing, says Mahua Moitra's tweet, and also it begins with the words Jai Ma Kali. And Niranjan joining us now for more on this. Niranjan, massive row erupting now in India, even as well in Canada, where the film has been released. The Aga Khan Museum has apologized.
Yes, and not just that. In fact, there are other related developments as well, because the Twitter has taken out a video. Twitter has taken out a video of that trailer, that controversial documentary poster trailer. And there are complaints being filed across India. And I think this particular tweet is her first after the controversy broke out. And she has said in the tweet, Jai Ma Kali, the goddess Bengalis worship, is
is fearless and non-appeasing. So this is her first tweet, and it comes on the back of the protest.
और उसी दिन हमने इनसे बात करके यहाँ लाना पड़ा और यहाँ के बारे में सारी जानकारी हो रहा था। लेकिन ये बहुत अच्छा चीज है कि एक बार दिल्ली में जा करके सब दिल्ली जाएंगे और सब तरह का टेस्ट कराएंगे और उनों से ही हमारे तो बहुत पुराने आज के सरकारी खर्चे पर होगी सर, सरकारी खर्चा भी करेगी तो वो तो करेगी ही, वो तो उनका अधिकार है, उनका तो अधिकार है, वो सब कुछ सरकार करेगी, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। तो किया हुआ पहले से बना हुआ नियम ही है, उसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, वो सब तो होगा ही, लेकिन जल्दी से जल्दी स्वस्थ हो यही हम लोगों की कामना है और मुझको पूरा भरोसा है।
So those are visuals from outside the hospital, Paras Hospital, where Lalu Prasad Yadav is hospitalized. As you can see in those visuals, Nitish Kumar speaking to the press, and he's flanked by Tejasvi Yadav, son of Lalu Yadav. Earlier in the day, we had been telling you how Lalu Prasad Yadav had to be hospitalized. Nitish Kumar among many other leaders who are visiting the ailing RJD Supremo. Prakash, to take us through this latest event. Prakash, Nitish Kumar too visiting Lalu Prasad Yadav, the ailing RJD Supremo. Earlier in the day, we had heard his son appealing to people to pray for his father. Give us some more updates.
ये हालात स्टेबल है और आप लोग सब लोगों की जानकारी में पहले से ही होगा कि किडनी और हार्ट का शुरू से ही इलाज जो है दिल्ली में चलता रहा है, तो बाकायदा एम्स में चलता रहा है और जो डॉक्टर जो देखते रहे हैं, जिनको लालू जी के मेडिकल हिस्ट्री का और इलाज का, ट्रीटमेंट का सारा जानकारी पता है, प्राप्त है, तो वहीं हम लोगों की राय बनी कि वहाँ ले जाकर के इनकी इलाज जो है वहीं कराया जाए, ट्रीटमेंट कराया जाए, तो कहीं कोई दिक्कत ना हो, इसके लिए जो है हम लोग दिल्ली हम लोग लेकर के जाएंगे। और सब लोगों का प्रार्थना और दुआ जो लोग कर रहे हैं, जो लालू जी के चाहने वाले लोग हैं, शुभचिंतक हैं, हम उनको हृदय से धन्यवाद देना चाहते हैं कि इस घड़ी में सभी लोगों की दुआ और प्रार्थना जो है वो काम आ रहा है और लालू जी के सेहत जो है पहले से सुधार हुई है। तो और तो ज़्यादा कोई विशेष नहीं है, आप सब लोग की जानकारी में है ही, दिल्ली का इलाज चलेगा और पहले से भी पता था कि सिंगापुर ले जाना है, तो सिंगापुर ले जाना था, 10-15 दिन बाद ले जाना था, लेकिन अब तो फ्रैक्चर हो चुका है और कुछ और बीमारियों का इलाज भी चल रहा है। तो एक बार दिल्ली हम लोग जाएंगे, पूरी तरीके से जो डॉक्टरों की राय होगी दिल्ली में भी, अगर सिचुएशन अगर सिंगापुर भी ले जाने लायक होगी तो हम लोगों का प्रयास रहेगा कि सिंगापुर भी हम लोग ले जाएं। मुख्यमंत्री भी नहीं, देखिए इस घड़ी में सब लोगों, हर कोई नेता ने, चाहे पक्ष के लोग हों, सत्ता दल के हों या विपक्ष के हों, सभी लोगों ने फ़ोन करके हमसे हालचाल जाना। कल प्रधानमंत्री जी का भी फ़ोन आया था और जब से एडमिशन हुआ है अस्पताल में तब से मुख्यमंत्री जी लगातार फॉलोअप भी ले रहे हैं। सभी मंत्री से लेकर राहुल गांधी जी हों या प्रियंका गांधी जी हों, उनसे भी हमारी बात हुई है, उन लोगों ने भी चिंता जताई है और वो सब लोग यही दुआ कर रहे हैं कि जल्द से जल्द लालू जी स्वस्थ हो। सर
So leaders across the board visiting the RJD Supremo Lalu Prasad Yadav, who is hospitalized. His son there, appealing for everyone's prayers and saying how much, speaking of how much cooperation they are receiving and how much support from all political leaders. Prakash there to take us through this story. Prakash, well, we were just listening to Tejasvi Yadav, and before that Nitish Kumar, leaders across the board coming there to offer their support as the RJD Supremo lies ailing in Paras Hospital.
Well, Lalu Yadav's condition as of now is said to be stable in the hospital. Nitish Kumar met Lalu Yadav, their old friends with JP movement days. And as a matter of solidarity with the family, Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar reaching out to Lalu Yadav, meeting him in the hospital, taking care of the arrangement, and he's also said that if at all it is required that the government should make arrangement, the government will make arrangement, because Lalu Yadav has been a former Chief Minister of Bihar. And as Tejasvi Yadav pointed out, that since he fell in the residence and there was a fracture in his right shoulder, so there were plans to take Lalu Yadav to Singapore 15 days back itself, and arrangements were being made for kidney-related ailments to be rectified there. So all this will be done after consulting the AIMS hospital in Delhi, where Lalu Yadav undergoes treatment frequently, actually.
Right. Well, we're getting those visuals. Prakash, many thanks for joining us there. We're getting those visuals of Nitish Kumar meeting Lalu Prasad Yadav. And in fact, earlier in the day, Prime Minister Modi had also spoken to Tejasvi Yadav regarding the RJD Supremo's health. And Tejasvi himself, speaking to the media a short while back, had said about how all leaders have offered the support, leaders across the board, considering, well, Lalu Prasad Yadav's stature over the years. And as of now, well, Tejasvi is saying, speaking about a fracture that Lalu has suffered from, because of which he had to be hospitalized immediately, but he has been ailing from kidney failure. Moving on to other news stories, Laura Trott, a British lawmaker belonging to Prime Minister Boris Johnson's Conservative Party, has stepped down from her role as Parliamentary Private Secretary to the Department of Transport, as resignations in protest of Boris Johnson continue. Earlier, we had seen how two other top ministers in his government had resigned, and they had said that they were doubtful about his leadership. And now another British lawmaker has said that she will not be continuing in her position. And slipping into a short break now, but coming up on the other side, all the news about how trouble mounts for Mahua Moitra. Multiple complaints filed over her controversial comments on Kali. Also, pothole death reported in Thane. Massive anger erupts as civic apathy claims another life.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 9 years, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, mass comm, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
The Supreme Court will be hearing a petition filed by former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister and AIADMK leader Edappadi Palanisamy challenging the Madras High Court order restraining the AIADMK's General Council for amending the party's bylaws during its meeting. Chhattisgarh police have arrested 3 Maoists who were involved in the Jivalpadar IED blast. P. Sharma, the additional SP Naxal operations, has said that the arrests are of members of the Kachapal militia and were involved in the Jivalpadar blast that happened on the 29th of March. They've also recovered an IED and 12 detonators.
A quick roundup of news in brief. Two Indian youth from More Ward number 2 and 4 were reportedly shot dead in Tamu in Myanmar. Reportedly, they were shot dead by Myanmar militia in the Tamu town of Myanmar at around 1 p.m. on Tuesday. The Congress Delhi unit lashed out at the ruling up for passing bills to give a 66% hike in salaries and allowances to assembly members, saying that the session did not broach providing unemployment allowance to the youth. He further alleged that the Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has failed to fulfill his promise to give 8 lakh jobs.
And in other international news, Ukraine's Air Force claims that its Air Command East has shot down 6 Russian sea-based cruise missiles. While according to the Ukrainian Air Force, Russia has launched caliber missiles towards the city of Dnipro and other areas there. And in Live and Breaking, let's take a look at some top stories we're tracking at this hour. In another attack related to a social media post supporting Nupur Sharma, a boy named Deepak is attacked in Ara in Bihar. Deepak had posted on Facebook in support of Nupur Sharma nearly 7 days ago. Rais had made indecent comments on the post. Meanwhile, a cloudburst in the Choj area of Manikaran Valley of Kulu has caused heavy damage to many homes and camping sites across the area, along with Choj Nala, which is connected to the river Parvati. As per the information received, it was raining in Kulu since last night. The incident happened in the Choj drain. In the morning, the houses adjoining the drain were severely damaged. And moving on to other top stories. Congress is all ready to find a joint candidate of opposition parties for the vice presidential polls. Sources have informed. Congress has reportedly given the task to Mallikarjun Kharge, leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha, to reach out to opposition parties to select a candidate for the election for the vice president's post. NIA's FIR in Udaipur case mentions that assailants circulated the video of murder of Tailor Kanhayalal on social media. NIA in the statement said the video was surfaced with assertion promoting enmity on religious grounds and creating panic and terror amongst the masses across the country. Kerala Assembly on Wednesday witnessed intense protests by the Congress-led UDF opposition over Minister Saji Cherian's remarks against the constitution, following which Speaker M.B. Rajesh declared the House adjourned for the day. As soon as the House proceedings began, opposition members trooped into the well, raising slogans demanding the resignation of Cherian over his anti-constitution remarks. And breaking news now coming in. DGCA, that's the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, has issued a show cause notice to SpiceJet in connection with the degradation of safety margins of its aircraft. SpiceJet has failed to establish safe, efficient and reliable air services under aircraft rules. So a ruling that was expected, considering the direction in which SpiceJet was going with its series of malfunctioning incidents reported in many of its flights, which had to be grounded or undertake emergency landing as a result of various mishaps. In fact, after yesterday's emergency landing in Karachi, another incident was reported today on one of its freight carriers. And Niranjan joining us now to tell us some more, take us through this breaking story. Niranjan, SpiceJet landing in trouble now. Where do you see this headed?
Yeah, this is a big development. In fact, you've had the back-to-back incidents that were reported And there is also, there is this notice also that we have. I'm just going to show you the notice. And it's a big development because the DGCA, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, the apex body that sort of, keeps a check on airlines and everything, civil aviation related, has issued a show cause notice to SpiceJet. I'm opening up that show cause notice here. This is a big development. In fact, DGCA has asked SpiceJet, and I have it with me here. You can see it here. That's the show cause notice dated the 5th of July 2022. And in its show cause notice, the Government of India under the Civil Aviation Department has said SpiceJet was authorized to perform commercial air operations up till the 16th of May in accordance with the Operations Manual and Rule 134 of the Aircraft Rules. Whereas the reported incidents of aircraft operated by SpiceJet from 1st April till date have been reviewed, and it has been observed that at number of occasions the aircraft either turned back to its originating station or continued landing to the destination with degraded safety margins. Whereas the review transpires that poor internal safety oversight and inadequate maintenance actions, as most of the incidents are related to either component failure or system-related failure, has resulted in degradation of the safety margins. Whereas financial assessment carried out by DGCA in September 2021 has also revealed that airline is operating on cash and carry, and suppliers or approved vendors are not being paid on regular basis, leading to shortage of spares and frequent invoking of MELs. In fact, they have said, whereas from above it may be deduced that SpiceJet has failed to establish a safe, efficient and reliable air services under terms of Rule 134 and Schedule 11 of the Aircraft Rules. Now, therefore, the accountable manager of SpiceJet is hereby called upon show cause notice within 3 weeks of receipt of this notice as to why action should not be taken against the airline. In case no reply is received within the stipulated period, the matter will be proceeded ex parte. Now, that is a big development. The Government of India and the regulator DGCA has issued a show cause notice to SpiceJet asking why action should not be taken against them. In fact, some of the observations are so scathing here. The DGCA says that SpiceJet, from the above incidents and some of these incidents we've been reporting, 2 of them yesterday itself, DGCA has said SpiceJet has failed to establish a safe, efficient and reliable air service. SpiceJet has failed to establish a safe, reliant and efficient air service, and they're asking why action should not be taken. That is a big development, and in fact, there are 2 more tweets. I'm getting in 2 more tweets. Let me get in the tweets on the screen here as well. I'll just take a moment off to change the screen. Jyotiraditya Scindia, Civil Aviation Minister, has just tweeted saying passenger safety is paramount. Even the smallest error hindering safety will be thoroughly investigated and course corrected. That's a breaking news update coming in. Jyotiraditya Scindia, Civil Aviation Minister, has just tweeted on this. Ministry of Civil Aviation has also tweeted. Back-to-back reactions coming in. The Ministry of Civil Aviation has said that in light of the recent incidences of technical malfunction with regard to SpiceJet flights in the last 18 days, the DGCA has issued a show cause notice to the air carrier. So there are tweets. In fact, Jyotiraditya Scindia and the Ministry of Civil Aviation have just tweeted, and the DGCA notice, which is here with me, also asking why action should not be taken against SpiceJet. And let's tell you that anytime now. Okay, we'll just show you the tweet in just a few seconds. Tweet of Jyotiraditya Scindia and also the Ministry of Civil Aviation. So you have the DGCA, Ministry of Civil Aviation and Jyotiraditya Scindia. 3 back-to-back responses come in the last few minutes itself of responses, and the government has asked why action should not be taken against the airline. And there are at least 4 or 5 incidents that have been reported, and you had 2 such incidents yesterday. 2 incidents yesterday, and this is the Ministry of Civil Aviation that has just tweeted. This is the Ministry of Civil Aviation that has just put out the tweet, and the Ministry of Civil Aviation has tweeted saying the recent incidences. Okay, now we're looking at Jyotiraditya Scindia's tweets. Let's go across to. Okay, let me scroll up. Let me just scroll up. Yeah, here it is. Jyotiraditya Scindia tweeting saying passenger safety is paramount. Even the smallest error hindering safety will be thoroughly investigated and course corrected. And I think this is a big development. They've asked, they've show-caused SpiceJet. They've show-caused SpiceJet. We'll try and get some experts on the phone line as well. They've show-caused SpiceJet, asking why action should not be taken against them. And I think it's one of those rare times in Indian civil aviation where you've had such a drastic decision and a move taken over back-to-back incidents. You've had at least 6 incidents. 6 incidents, and we'll get you the details of these incidents as well. Yesterday we had the full details of the 5 or 6 incidents. We'll just get you the details of those incidents. And there have been back-to-back yesterday itself on a Delhi to Dubai flight. A Delhi to Dubai flight was diverted to Karachi, landed in Karachi, and you had the glass shattering incident mid-air where a Mumbai to Kandla flight. The flight landed in Kandla with a shattered pane, and these are just some of the incidents that you've had on your screen right now. You know, there are different pictures we're putting out of the different incidents of SpiceJet that has forced the government of India and the Civil Aviation Ministry to take action, and even the Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia has tweeted. Let me tell you a little bit about the incidents, the different incidents in the last 2 weeks itself. You've had yesterday the SpiceJet flight that was headed to Dubai, landing in Karachi, and then you had a SpiceJet emergency landing of an aircraft from Delhi to Jabalpur. On the 19th of June, there was an emergency landing in Patna after a mid-air fire. On the 19th of June, a SpiceJet Q400 made an emergency landing. In fact, we counted at last 8 incidents. 8 incidents in the last 2 weeks, and you can't really take a chance with such back-to-back incidents. And I think that's the message that even Jyotiraditya Scindia, the Civil Aviation Minister, the Government of India, the DGCA, the regulator are sending out, that you can't take a chance mid-air. You can't take a chance with passenger safety. You can't take a chance with emergency landing. You can't take a chance with diversions. Okay, let me get in some more responses. Group Captain Agustin Vinod is joining us on the phone line. He's a defense analyst but knows a lot about aviation. He's an aviation expert as well in that sense. So, Group Captain Agustin Vinod, you know, this breaking news update that we have of the Government of India sending a show cause notice to SpiceJet, asking why action should not be taken against the airline. Now, airline apart, the incidents of mid-air emergencies, Group Captain of Vinod, when you have 8 incidents in 2 weeks, what is the message that's going out, and why is this a cause for alarm, Group Captain?
I am part of DGCA as well, so I'll keep my comments measured. But the fact of the matter is, the opening lines you said, any regulator, forget about DGCA, any regulator of any country will be alarmed at the rate at which diversions are happening, at the rate at which the minor incidents are happening, 3 of them in a week's time. So these could be looked at as shape of things to come. That is point number 1. Point number 2, if you look at all of these incidents in isolation, nothing has gone wrong. So that way, I would say pilots, prima facie, pilots have handled it quite professionally and took preemptive actions before things went out of control. Take for example the Karachi diversion, which was a faulty fuel indication, but pilot didn't want to take a chance. That's the correct call he took. The Q400, the outer layer of glass breakage, pilot brought the aircraft back safely, and everybody was on the ground very safe. So things like this, when pilots take precautionary action, on the flip side to what you covered, they are laudable actually, because it's better to be safe than to be sorry, you understand. So the world takes notice when pilots take the precautionary action. What if pilots have not taken precautionary action and continue and nothing will happen? Neither you or I will be talking about it today. So you have to look at it holistically, and that is what the regulator has done. The show cause notice is to giving a chance to SpiceJet to explain the actions, which is the correct thing to do. Over to you.
What in your experience, what are the measures that could be taken? What are the options in front of, for example, the government? Group Captain Vinod.
Yes, see, there are two things. First action is to tell the operator to explain themselves, which they are doing. The second will be based on the reply that, the course of action I'm saying, but based on the reply that you get from the operator, then the further course of action will be determined by the regulator. That is how the things progress. Suppose the answer from SpiceJet is adequately satisfying to the regulator, then things would be left at that. And it is also an indication or indication to the operator that regulator has taken notice. The next is going to be probably a body which will be constituted by the regulator, who will come and look into the standard operating procedures, how the emergency was handled, etc., etc. But prima facie, as a pilot, I can tell you this, that the way a pilot handles the situation is really laudable. And individually, the way pilots acted on every single emergency is absolutely professional. And that is the correct way to do it, if you ask me.
Group Captain Agustin Vinod, thank you for joining us. Group Captain Agustin Vinod, an aviation expert there. Just one more question, if I can take with you. So you mentioned that you were also advising or had some official role with the DGCA. Did I hear you correctly there, Group Captain?
Yes, I am a part of the Accident Investigation Board, and I'm also a nominated qualified flying instructor for the DGCA. Okay. So in that case, Group Captain, can I ask you if you've seen any such incident in the last few years? Because I can't recollect, Group Captain, any such incident where there have been, or at least the number of incidents that have been reported in that frequency in the recent past in Indian aviation. It's quite alarming in that sense, isn't it? Yeah, no. You have to look at it in isolation, you see. They are not, what is alarming is when a similar type of incident gets repeated. Like what happened with MAX. See, the MCAS issue, you're very, very well aware, which grounded the complete Boeing 737 MAX fleet. That is alarming. In this case, these are isolated, separate emergencies which could happen, which has happened earlier, which will happen in the future, and this is not the only operator's airline it is happening. But I would say it is just a chance that all of them happening together. So that is something that is what is regulators worried about. But in isolation, they are all separate incidents. I mean, one is fuel light misbehaving. That's a completely separate emergency. It can happen anytime. It has happened in the past. But, he took an action of being safe by diverting to Karachi, sorting out the issue, and then moving on forward. Similarly, this Q400, it's a completely different aeroplane and a different emergency, handled so professionally by the pilots. So, if you look at it in isolation, they are separate emergencies, which can happen over a period of 1 year. But as luck would have it, or chance would have it, it happens within a period of a week. So that is nothing alarming about it. That's my take on the subject. Over to you.
Well, thank you, Group Captain, for speaking to the Republic. I think it's a big development and one that directly impacts or would interest the passenger. And many passengers, will be asking this question of what's going on. The show cause notice has been issued by the DGCA to SpiceJet after the back-to-back incidents. And the DGCA has also said in its letter that at a number of occasions, aircraft either turned back to its originating station or continued landing to the destination with degraded safety margins. Review transpires that poor internal safety oversight. Poor internal safety oversight. Inadequate maintenance actions. So there are several, mentions here. Let me go back to the visuals of the different incidents and bring in Wing Commander Praful Bakshi joining us on the phone line. Wing Commander Bakshi, what are the risks involved in such incidents, sir? You've had several emergency landing. Yesterday you had, some fuel pump indicator malfunction and then a cracked windshield. Why does this happen? And when it happens at increasing intervals, what's the message that's going out? Wing Commander Bakshi, sir.
The message going out is that somebody is looking at the economics of the whole game, business, profit and losses, and at the cost of the flight safety and the lives of the citizens of India. That is long and short of the whole thing. And if that be so, they don't have the rights to run an air organization like this, where they play with the lives of the people and in this manner. The whole thing has to be inquired by the DGCA. DGCA must call a thorough inquiry into first the procedures of maintenance, the SOPs, the norms, the flight safety norms. They have to ascertain, are the right people sitting on the right job? Are do they know their technical job of running an aviation organization like this? Are they competent enough? This, after having ascertained this, they have to check up whether the shortcuts are being taken or not, whether the flight safety norms are violated. There, they will tell us whether the spare parts are to be changed. They are giving ad hoc extension of life to the spare parts, and they are continuing to use them at the cost of safety. That has to be ascertained. And in the meanwhile, if the airline says that this particular aircraft is giving a problem, the experts from the company, the designers and the manufacturers, can be called in and asked, and they can be given the entire data and let them sit across the table and decide. Till such time this happens, this type of aircraft has to be grounded. They have to be grounded, and thorough inspection has to be done. And the DGCA, the aviation minister, must first satisfy themselves that this has been done. Thereafter, they should proceed.
Sir, just taking off from one of the mentions here in the DGCA letter, Wing Commander Bakshi, the DGCA has said in its letter that the airline has failed to establish a safe, efficient and reliable air service. And they're also asking why action should not be taken against the airline. So what can you tell us about the possible actions that can be taken in this particular case, sir?
Well, to tell you the truth, I may not be able to tell what the rule position is there with the government of India, but that much I know. Once it has been written that action has to be taken because they are violating it, the fleet has to be grounded. Then the airline will have to be given a notice, a show cause notice, as to why action should not be taken and why have they failed. I mean, all this thing has to be ascertained. But till that time is done, the aircraft will not take off. They will have to be on the ground. That is the right thing to do. And then they can sort it out. What is the priority, what will be the order of, what will be the procedure, which action should be taken first and which should be not be taken first. This aspect can be sorted out. But at the moment, it has to be ascertained, and the people of India, the citizens of India, must be ascertained that their lives are not being sold like this, and they are not being put at risk in civil aviation as we see. Cracking of the shield, fuel pump failure, pressurization failure number of times. I mean, there are a number of other things which are happening, and this is a precursor of the main accident which will end up somewhere down the line. So this is a forewarning being given, and enough warnings have been given. I don't think so any establishment can get so many warnings and still continue on the same line.
Absolutely. Thank you, Wing Commander Praful Bakshi there, joining us on the phone line, aviation expert, and has been a pilot himself. So, talking about the safeties that are the designation, the safety and the threat involved when such incidents are reported, especially mid-air, and such incidents are reported at increasing intervals. In fact, let me also tell you, in the last few days itself, you've had several visuals that have come in, several visuals that show you the incidents that have been reported. And we'll keep coming back to the story with the full details. I'm handing it back to you for now, keeping a close watch on the story.
All right, thank you for that. To the SpiceJet, it remains to be seen the action that's taken from here on. But on to another breaking update, more news coming in. This one with respect to the Ma Kali controversy, the poster controversy that has erupted. Now we're getting to know that an FIR has been registered against the TMC MP Mahua Moitra in Bhopal. So Shivraj government there taking stock of the situation and getting an FIR registered against Mahua Moitra. Remember, Mahua Moitra is facing massive backlash over a controversial remark that she had given about Goddess Kali, and even remaining defiant after giving that controversial remark. So now we have the Shivraj government getting an FIR registered against Mahua Moitra. We'll go across to our reporters as well to get us more information. So the FIR, we are told, that has been registered in Bhopal, has been registered in this crime branch police station in Bhopal. And we are also getting to know that Mahua Moitra will be summoned very shortly by the police with regard to an FIR that has been registered against the TMC MP over the controversial remark that she had made on Goddess. So that is the latest coming in. We are told that the case has been registered against Mahua Moitra under section 295A of the IPC. The FIR has been registered against the TMC MP for hurting religious sentiments. So, of course, the protests that are taking place against Mahua Moitra in Kolkata, FIRs that are also being registered, and the latest being another FIR that has been registered against Mahua Moitra in Bhopal. So, of course, Mahua Moitra there facing the ire of the people, and now news coming in from MP where the Shivraj government has gotten an FIR registered against Mahua Moitra. So, we are told that the FIR has been registered under sections including 295A of the IPC for hurting religious sentiments, and we are also told that she will be summoned soon by the police there, by the Bhopal cops, with regard to this FIR that has been registered. So, of course, Mahua Moitra coming out with an explanation as well, remaining defiant, sticking by the remarks that she had made on Goddess, saying that her remarks have been misconstrued, and also going on to add that how she is that there is a political vendetta against her. There is politics being played out against her with regard to the statement she had made on Goddess Kali. So, but the latest that is coming in at this point is that the Bhopal police will also be issuing a summon to Moitra with regard to the FIR that has been registered against her. We'll go across to our reporters as well to get us more information. But as of now, the poster row, which is only exploding, you have the furor over her remarks, which is only escalating, protests which are taking place by the BJP workers there in Kolkata. Simultaneously, the FIRs that are being registered against Mahua Moitra. We have our executive editor for politics, Aishwarya Kapoor, also joining us. Aishwarya, if you could give us more details, how do you read into these remarks that are made by Moitra, because she remains defiant despite making such controversial remarks?
Well, absolutely, but at this point of time, TMC itself, after not only condemning such very statements, TMC has completely distanced itself by the statement of own leader. But Mahua Moitra not understanding the gravity of the matter, or for that matter, understanding and still continuing. So it is up to the TMC leadership to see that whether they would want to take any further strict action against their own leader. Because at the end of the day, the kind of statement which has been made, Mahua Moitra is not only is not a leader which has made this kind of statement first. There have been earlier as well that when she has made several controversial statements. So in that regard, it is not something which the TMC is not aware of. Earlier also we've seen at least on 3 occasions we are being told when TMC has distanced itself from the statement of Mahua Moitra. So at this point of time, yes, this is embarrassing, but it remains very important to see that what exactly will be the action taken by the TMC on Mahua Moitra now.
Yes. Ishwara, also if you could tell us more about the reactions you're picking up from across the political spectrum, because like you're pointing out, TMC of course has distanced itself, but more reactions that you're picking up from the Congress and the BJP?
Well, we've seen BJP protesting against it, not only in Bengal, but in 3 different states, demanding action. BJP very, very clearly saying that we want action against it. BJP saying that just by distancing itself, it is not going to suffice, because we need to understand that the statement made by Mahua Moitra was in which regard? It was in regard to Kalima being depicted by a film director in Canada smoking a cigarette, and that is something which cannot be accepted. In India, all religions are equally respected, and that is what even certain leaders from the TMC are saying. And these kind of depiction and these kind of comments on anyone's deity, on anyone's faith, cannot be allowed and should not be allowed. And Mahua Moitra, not only just a leader but a member of parliament, should have not made the statement which she did. And hence you have the Congress and the BJP taking them on and demanding TMC leadership and the West Bengal Chief Minister to take strictest possible action on their own leader.
Yes, and Ishwara, what is appalling is that Moitra, instead of apologizing, she's crying foul there and saying that how she's being targeted, even taking to social media, saying that all her statements are being misconstrued. So trying to brazen it out. Well, we'll try and connect with Ishwara again, but we have a soundbite reaction as well of Shuvendu Adhikari. Let's listen into what he had to say.
देखिए, इसका निंदा करने की कोई भाषा हमारी संविधान में नहीं है, मेरा पास नहीं है, हम लोग का एमएलए टोली का पास भी नहीं है, कोई भाषा नहीं है। इतना घटिया शब्द हमारी हिंदू और जो सनातन सेंटीमेंट है उसके ऊपर सीधा सीधा असर हुआ है। बंगाल का हर घर में देवी माँ काली को पूजन होता है, हम लोग का फास्टिंग होता है काली पूजा का दिन, अमावस्या का दिन। इसका खिलाफ कानूनी तरीके से कार्रवाई होना चाहिए, नहीं होगा तो शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से ध्वज लेकर महाकाली जी का तस्वीर और प्रतिमा लेकर मूर्ति लेकर एजिटेशन भी होगा शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से। वो लोग जैसे करता है रोड ब्लॉकेट, रेल को आग जानी, पत्थरबाजी, ये सब लोग हिंदू लोग नहीं करता। और एफआईआर भी हुआ है नुपुर शर्मा में इशू में। इतना प्रोएक्टिव है ममता जी का पुलिस, इसमें भी प्रोएक्टिव होना चाहिए। हम लोग वेट कर रहा है ये क्या करेगा। उसका बाद पुलिस इन एक्शन को लेकर कोर्ट के जाने के लिए दरवाजा तो खोला ही है, लेकिन 2-4 दिन 5 दिन तो देखना ही पड़ेगा पुलिस क्या कर रहा है, ठीक है। और करने के लिए जो दबाव बनाना चाहिए, आवाज उठाना चाहिए, वो आवाज सब हिंदू ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से लेकर फार हिंदू पार्टी का जो एफिलिएशन को छोड़ के पार्टी का ऊपर उठ के सब हिंदू लोग सनातनी कल्चर को मानते हुए देवी माँ काली का जो भक्त है, डिवोटी है, सब लोग आवाज उठाएंगे कि कार्रवाई होना चाहिए, कार्रवाई होना चाहिए। और बंगाल की धरती पर इतना देव देवी के ऊपर आक्रमण, अब शब्द गाली बार बार हो रहा है और शासक दल इसको पैट्रोनाइज कर रहा है, ये खत्म होना चाहिए।
The position of the party, which has already been stated yesterday, and I repeat, the party does not endorse such a statement, rather condemns it. In the same tune, we condemn the way Goddess Kali has been depicted with smoking a cigarette. That is also condemnable.
এবারে আরেকটা জিনিস এসেছে, গ্যাসের দাম, গ্যাস প্রাইস হাই হয়ে গেছে।
গাড়িটা চলে যা সুজয়, এই যে জোরে জোরে হর্ন বাজাচ্ছে কেন, ভাগাগুলোকে।
Today again,
it is the routine agenda of the NDA government led by BJP to increase the prices of petrol products almost every month. And if you go through the recent hike, you will find in the month of May 53 rupees was hiked in respect of cooking gas, and this month we are on, which date we are on today? Today is 6th of July. 6th of July you find that further 50 rupees has been enhanced for the cooking gas. So altogether 103 rupees have been increased in the past 1.5 months.
So TMC there distancing itself from the remarks that were made by Moitra there. We'll keep tracking all the latest on that big story, but moving on for now. With heavy rains across the country, Kulu's Manikaran Valley has been facing several severe damages. The heavy rains lashed the valley, destroying several houses. Take a look at this report.
Amid heavy rainfall across Himachal Pradesh, Choj area of Manikaran Valley in Kulu district faced a cloudburst. Visuals show severe flooding across Manikaran Valley of Kulu. Due to the incessant rainfall, the region has been experiencing heavy damages. Homes, bridge and camping sites have been destroyed. The Choj area is connected to Parvati river. The adjoining houses continues to suffer due to the cloudburst. The only bridge over the Parvati river also washed away. Amid severe flooding, administration has ramped up vigilance and disaster management teams have also been deployed.
Slipping into a very short break. On the other side, more news breaks lined up. Amravati hate killing probe widens alleged PFI man Suhail Nadvi quest by the NIA. A quick roundup of news in brief. Two Indian youth from More Ward number 2 and 4 were reportedly shot dead in Tamu in Myanmar. Reportedly, they were shot dead by Myanmar militia in the Tamu town of Myanmar at around 1 p.m. on Tuesday. The Congress Delhi unit lashed out at the ruling up for passing bills to give a 66% hike in salaries and allowances to assembly members, saying that the session did not broach providing unemployment allowance to the youth. He further alleged that the Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has failed to fulfill his promise to give 8 lakh jobs.
And in other international news, Ukraine's Air Force claims that its Air Command East has shot down 6 Russian sea-based cruise missiles. While according to the Ukrainian Air Force, Russia has launched caliber missiles towards the city of Dnipro and other areas there. Ukraine's second largest city has come under heavy fire as Russian forces move to take control of the Donbas, the country's eastern industrial heartland. Shells have reportedly been hitting Kharkiv and its outskirts every day.
And here's some news in brief. A meeting of the Union Cabinet is scheduled to be held today. The Cabinet may consider a proposal to cut land licensing fee and a longer lease period for railway land, according to sources. The Indian Army has evacuated 2 female yatris who developed medical complications during the Chittu Mata Yatra in Padar, Kishwar. Draupadi Murmu, the presidential candidate of the National Democratic Alliance, is to meet MPs and MLAs of the ruling BJP and its allies, the Ahom Gana Parishad and the United People's Party Liberation in Assam. Murmu arrived in Guwahati late Tuesday night to seek support for the July 18 elections.
As former Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray and NCP leader Sanjay and Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut continue to criticize the newly elected Eknath Shinde-led state government, BJP leader Kirit Somaiya hit back saying that they are not accepting the reality and Thackeray needs to introspect now. Senior BJP leader also pointed out claims made by Aditya Thackeray in which he said that around 15 MLAs are still in contact with them. In a shocking incident in Punjab, a group of miscreants opened fire outside a Moga court in broad daylight. Police have accessed the CCTV footage of the incident where some shooters can be seen in two cars firing at a group of people in the parking area of Moga local court.
Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky has called for more pressure on Russia, warning that Russia can create another crisis for Europe. Volodymyr Zelensky also said that until Russia is defeated, there is no guarantee that it will not wage war against any other country. The United Nations World Food Programme has appealed for $68.4 million to alleviate food insecurity in the Central African Republic. The rapid rise in the price of essential goods in the CAR linked to the war in Ukraine could exacerbate an already difficult humanitarian situation. Over 2 million people.
Good afternoon, viewers. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching Republic. Let's start with the top headlines you're tracking this afternoon. After back-to-back incidents, mega action on SpiceJet, DGCA issues show-cause notice to the airline. Amravati hate-killing pro-Biden's alleged PFI man Sohail Nadvi quest by the NIA. Chilling details revealed in Umesh Kolhe's post-mortem report. Report suggests Kolhe was stabbed to death. Smoking Kali Rao gets bigger. Mega protests erupt against Mahua Moitra as she backs the poster. Trouble mounts for Mahua Moitra. Multiple complaints filed over controversial comments on Goddess Kali. Pothole death reported in Thane. Massive anger erupts as civic apathy claims yet another life. Starting with breaking updates coming in, this one from J&K. These are the visuals of the Kulgam anti-terror operations. Remember, two terrorists surrendered earlier this morning. In fact, let's listen in to take a look at those closely to the visuals coming in.
अपना हथियार डालो और बाहर आ दो के नीचे हथियार डाल दे फटाफट से कर दे जल्दी फेंक दे हथियार कुछ नहीं रखा है चारों तरफ फौज है पुलिस है कुछ नहीं होगा अपना हथियार डालो और बाहर आ दो के नीचे हथियार डाल दे फटाफट से कर दे जल्दी फेंक दे हथियार कुछ नहीं रखा है चारों तरफ फौज है पुलिस है कुछ नहीं होगा अपना हथियार डालो और बाहर आ दो के नीचे हथियार डाल दे फटाफट से कर दे जल्दी फेंक दे हथियार कुछ नहीं रखा है चारों तरफ फौज है पुलिस है कुछ नहीं होगा अपना हथियार डालो और बाहर आ दो के नीचे हथियार डाल दे फटाफट से कर दे जल्दी फेंक दे हथियार कुछ नहीं रखा है चारों तरफ फौज है पुलिस है कुछ नहीं होगा अपना हथियार डालो और बाहर आ दो के नीचे हथियार डाल दे फटाफट से कर दे जल्दी फेंक दे हथियार कुछ नहीं रखा है चारों तरफ फौज है पुलिस है कुछ नहीं होगा अपना हथियार डालो और बाहर आ दो के नीचे हथियार डाल दे फटाफट से कर दे जल्दी फेंक दे हथियार कुछ नहीं रखा है चारों तरफ फौज है पुलिस है कुछ नहीं होगा अपना हथियार डालो.
So that's you can hear the surrender tape that's been accessed by Republic in which the terrorists are being asked to surrender, and that's been captured on tape. Remember two terrorists were in this anti-terror operation which happened in Kulgam. Two terrorists surrendered before the police. And we'll go across to Gursimran as well, but first let's once again take a look at this surrender tape that's been accessed.
अगर क्या गलती ऐसी बाहर माफी बता क्या गलती मैं सब नमोता दी उस माफी नजब सब यार ने बात नजब सब Katu kiyam najib sabab. Ner nyaba najib sabab. Agar kiyan galti aisi. Kata yamak muati. Ujisi mami. Basi mami najib sabab. Katu kuk ner nyaba najib sabab. Pala lagi. Pala gai banjit pala yamak muati najib sabab. Basi mami. Basi mami wala ner nyaba najib sabab. Papa, ya today Papa. Hada wasa kiyeti. Pala kar surrender bayamak mafi. Bayamak mafi agar kan galti aisa sadi us mafi.
Dako CEO sir te SSP sir shivana walkar surrender.
वो ऊपर से देख रहा है
CEO sir te SSP sir की दोनों कार surrender करने की उनसे बात
देखा है ना सर छत से
सरेंडर कर लो।
लाइट बंद कर लो भाई।
कफील आपके भी माँ बाप यहाँ पे आए, बाहर आके सरेंडर कर लो। अभी एसएसपी साहब और सीओ साहब आपको मौका दे रहे हैं सरेंडर करने का। नदीम और कफील बाहर आके सरेंडर कर लो। नदीम अभी आपकी माँ आपसे बात कर रही थी, आपका बाप भी यहाँ पे मौजूद है, बाहर आके सरेंडर कर लो। एसएसपी साहब और सीओ साहब आपको मौका दे रहे हैं सरेंडर करने का। सामान वहां पे छोड़ो और बाहर आके सरेंडर कर लो।
बोलो हमारे फायर से किसी को नुकसान नहीं हुआ है, आपको कोई नुकसान नहीं हुआ। हम तो कैसे देख रहे हैं
नदीम और कफील अभी आपकी साइड से भी कोई नुकसान नहीं हुआ है, बाहर आके सरेंडर कर लो, मौका है भाई। नदीम अपनी माँ से बात कर लो।
Najib sabab. Lihat apa Najib sabab. Bahaya mak mafi. Batra khorat dazai Najib sabab. Lihat apa kar surrender Najib sabab. Bala gai maindet.
Dako CEO sir te SSP sir te worker surrender कितना है
हेलो वेतन जी नदीम ये एसएसपी साहब थे सीओ साहब थे हम तमाम कर सिलेंडर क्या परवाह छन आराम सान त्राहो पदियाला वली दस्ती हेलो दस्ती
And that was the surrender tape that we've accessed. We have Gursimran as well, who's getting us all those details. Gursimran, if you could once again summarize it for us, the surrender tape that we've accessed, in which I believe the family of these terrorists can also be heard asking these terrorists to surrender.
Yes, two terrorists, Nadeem and Kafil, they were trapped in an encounter in the Kulgam district of South Kashmir, and two being the locals, the security forces provided them with an opportunity to surrender. You can see that the Indian Army Jawans are asking them to surrender. Even after that, the family of these terrorists, they were brought into that very spot, and the family made an emotional appeal in which they have asked these terrorists to leave the gun paths to come to the mainstream. And this is a big success for the security forces, as they have managed to pursue these two terrorists to shun the path of the violence and to surrender before the security forces. See, Union government has a very clear-cut policy that no foreign terrorist will be left, and if local terrorists want to come to mainstream, they will be given the due opportunity, and that has happened in Kulgam also, where the families of these terrorists, Nadeem and Kafil, were brought to the encounter site. They made an emotional appeal, after which these terrorists, the two terrorists, Nadeem and Kafil, they surrendered and before the security forces, and now they are being questioned by the forces. The due legal process will be followed, but yes, this is a really very big success, as the youth of the Kashmir who have gone to the path of gun culture have started to realize that the security forces and the awam of the Kashmir is for them, and the government is taking due steps to ensure that if possible, these youngsters who have gone to the path of the gun, who has gone to the terrorism on the radicalization attempts of the Pakistan, if they want to come to the mainstream, the government is always open to welcome them. So these two terrorists have surrendered, and all the credit goes to the security forces who have managed to persuade them to surrender.
Yes, Gursimran, if you could give us more details as to at what time did this encounter start, and how long did it take for the forces to make these two terrorists surrender?
This encounter started late last night, after which the security forces first laid the cordon, and after it got ensured that the two terrorists who are inside are the local terrorists, their families were brought into the spot. The families made an emotional appeal. Even the officials from the Indian Army, you can see that they were also on the spot. They made the appeal to these terrorists to surrender before the security forces, and after these appeal today morning, these terrorists made the surrender before the security forces. These are the exclusive visuals that we have accessed. The Indian Army, Jawans and the family members of these terrorists, Nadeem and Kafil, making the emotional appeals to them to return to the mainstream, to return them by shunning the path of the gun that they have taken on the directions of the Pakistan and the Pakistani proxies. And this surrender of these two terrorists is also a slap on those who are trying to radicalize the youth of Jammu and Kashmir to take gun against the security forces, against the civilians in the Kashmir Valley.
Yes, Gursimran, anything you are learning with respect to who are these terrorists linked? Beg your pardon, who are they? To which terror outfit are they linked to? And about the incriminating materials that has been recovered from these terrorists.
Yes, the weapons and the arms and ammunition has been seized by the security forces. Even the mobile phones and the gadgets they were using they are thoroughly being checked by the security forces to find out the backward and forward linkages, because this is really very important. Actually, the security forces wants to find out who is behind this radicalization and who is pushing the youth of Jammu and Kashmir into the path of terrorism. And these two terrorists, since they have surrendered before the forces, the due legal process will be followed. But a big win for the forces if they have managed to surrender these two terrorists. For more, stay tuned to Republic TV.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 not-for-profit private university for 9 years, with top 10 ranked institutions in management, engineering, biotech, law, masscom, telecom, hospitality, fashion and more. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
And here's some news in brief. A meeting of the Union Cabinet is scheduled to be held today. The Cabinet may consider a proposal to cut land licensing fee and a longer lease period for railway land, according to sources. The Indian Army has evacuated 2 female yatris who developed medical complications during the Chittu Mata Yatra in Padar, Kishwar. Draupadi Murmu, the presidential candidate of the National Democratic Alliance, is to meet MPs and MLAs of the ruling BJP and its allies, the Ahom Gana Parishad and the United People's Party Liberation in Assam. Murmu arrived in Guwahati late Tuesday night to seek support for the July 18 elections.
As former Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray and NCP leader Sanjay and Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut continue to criticize the newly elected Eknath Shinde-led state government, BJP leader Kirit Somaiya hit back, saying that they are not accepting the reality and Thackeray needs to introspect now. Senior BJP leader also pointed out claims made by Aditya Thackeray in which he said that around 15 MLAs are still in contact with them. In a shocking incident in Punjab, a group of miscreants opened fire outside a Moga court in broad daylight. Police have accessed the CCTV footage of the incident where some shooters can be seen in 2 cars firing at a group of people in the parking area of Moga local court.
Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky has called for more pressure on Russia, warning that Russia can create another crisis for Europe. Volodymyr Zelensky also said that until Russia is defeated, there is no guarantee that it will not wage war against any other country. The United Nations World Food Programme has appealed for $68.4 million to alleviate food insecurity in the Central African Republic. The rapid rise.
This is not an election rally, neither a victory march, but a brazen misuse of power. Bondhu Ram Mohan, a Telugu Rashtra Samiti leader and a former mayor of Hyderabad, was seen celebrating his birthday in the middle of the road. Watch how, with no sense of public civility or empathy, the leader blocked the traffic, causing massive jam just to celebrate his birthday. The viral video has triggered massive anger among the public, but the question remains. Will Chief Minister KCR step in and take action against the leader? Bureau Report, Republic TV.
A very short break. On the other side, we'll get you the latest as trouble mounts for TMC MP Moitra. Multiple complaints filed over controversial comments on Goddess Kali. And pothole death reported in Thane. Massive anger erupts as civic apathy claims yet another life.
Reading allows us to become familiar with ourselves.
We don't read, we won't know what is knowledge. I just find it very interesting to know people's lives, how they went through certain situations, how they dealt with things.
So wherever you want to go in life, if you read books along those lines, then that would really help you in growing.
Reading could mean a million different things to every individual. What does it mean to you? Visit readindia.info to find out more.
As former Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray and NCP leader Sanjay and Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut continue to criticize the newly elected Eknath Shinde-led state government, BJP leader Kirat Somaiya hit back saying that they are not accepting the reality and Thackeray needs to introspect now. Senior BJP leader also pointed out claims made by Aditya Thackeray in which he said that around 15 MLAs are still in contact with them. In a shocking incident in Punjab, a group of miscreants opened fire outside a Moga court in broad daylight. Police have accessed the CCTV footage of the incident where some shooters can be seen in two cars firing at a group of people in the parking area of Moga local court.
Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky has called for more pressure on Russia, warning that Russia can create another crisis for Europe. Volodymyr Zelensky also said that until Russia is defeated, there is no guarantee that it will not wage war against any other country. The United Nations World Food Programme has appealed for $68.4 million to alleviate food insecurity in the Central African Republic. The rapid rise in the price of essential goods in the CAR linked to the war in Ukraine could exacerbate an already difficult humanitarian situation. Over 2 million people in the CAR are currently suffering from acute food insecurity.
The Supreme Court will be hearing a petition filed by former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister and AIADMK leader Edappadi Palanisamy challenging the Madras High Court order restraining the AIADMK's General Council for amending the party's bylaws during its meeting.
The rain situation in Maharashtra, the IMD has issued an orange alert in Mumbai for next 3 to 4 days. Several parts of Mumbai, remember, witnessed heavy rainfall resulting in flood-like situation in the city. Incident of landslide was reported in Mumbai's Ghatkopar area due to heavy rainfall in the city. A house was damaged due to the landslide. However, no casualty has been reported. Due to incessant rains in Mumbai, public transport and daily life of Mumbaikars has come to a standstill. Incident of waterlogging and pothole menace is also reported in several places, including railway stations of Western, Central and Harbour lines of the city. Amid heavy rains, Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde has directed officials to keep NDRF squads on standby and also took stock of the situation. Shinde also held a discussion with Chief Secretary and other district secretaries to stay alert and control the situation. Maharashtra is bracing itself for more rains as IMD has predicted more rainfall in various places. Districts like Raigad, Ratnagiri, Thane, Palghar and Kolhapur have been put on high alert. 12 NDRF teams in total have been deployed in various districts of Maharashtra to tackle the wrath of heavy rains in the state. The teams are equipped with boats, rescue equipment, as well as this team also includes engineering, paramedic and technical experts so that there is no further damage as a result of incessant rainfall. A cloudburst triggered by heavy rains blocked the Srinagar-Leh highway after flash floods occurred in Jammu and Kashmir's Ganderbal district. Rescue operation is said to be underway to clear the highway. No casualty has been reported as the Amarnath Yatra is still on in the state. The IMD has issued a red alert in Madhya Pradesh as a whole as the state faces a range of monsoon rains. Rains in the state will continue due to the low pressure over the adjoining areas of Gujarat and Rajasthan. Vigorous southwest monsoon to continue in northern part of the country as well. The weather department has predicted heavy rainfall and issued yellow alert in the national capital. Various parts of Delhi have been receiving a moderate to severe rainfall for several days now. A very short break. On the other side, after back-to-back incidents, mega action on SpiceJet. SpiceJet DGCA issues show cause notice. Amravati hate-killing probe widens. Alleged PFI link also emerges.
Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky has called for more pressure on Russia, warning that Russia can create another crisis for Europe. Volodymyr Zelensky also said that until Russia is defeated, there is no guarantee that it will not wage war against any other country. The United Nations World Food Programme has appealed for $68.4 million to alleviate food insecurity in the Central African Republic.